I mean, it's extraordinary the amount of tourists who've come from Australia and America and France. And I mean, the Americans, I'm thinking, didn't you have a war of independence? What are you doing? And the French, they're kind of losing their heads over the royals. And I'm like, shouldn't it be the other way around? So it's quite a phenomenon here.
Have you come across many Australians who are staking out their position?
Yes. I mean, lots of women have come on their own. Middle-aged women have come in little groups of girls, and they're staying at hotels down near Buckingham Palace. They're already out there with their milk crates. They're sleeping rough tonight, just for a glimpse of romance. And, of course, it's because, there are many props which increase sexual arousal in women, but chief amongst those would be a castle. We were weaned on Snow White and Rapunzel and, Sleeping Beauty. The idea of being rescued by something tall, dark and bankable is ingrained in our psyche. And of course, as you grow up, you stop building castles in the air and you learn to stand on your own two stilettos. But the fact that William is marrying a commoner has kind of rekindled this whole romantic notion that, it could have been me.
I understand you've met Prince William and Kate Middleton. What are they like away from the cameras?
Yeah. Well, it's funny, I've only met them once, but because nobody has met them, socially, especially Kate, I'm the only one who's got a story to tell about them, so I'm kind of, milking it to death. But I did meet them. I went to the Royal Polo about a year ago, and it was a private polo match. There was no press there. A friend of mine took me. And when Clarence House saw my name on the list, they rang up and said, look, as you're coming, do you want to present the cups to the princes? They're obviously, very low on celebrities that day. It was kind of a case of mistaken non-entity. But I was like, yeah, sure. So I got there, and there's, 8 gorgeous guys in mud-splattered jodhpurs, and I said to the organiser, well, what do I do? And he said, well, you just kiss them on the cheek and then present the cup. All these guys who send their shirts out to be stuffed, that's what they're like. So I could see Prince William walking towards me, and he looked so bored. I thought, maybe I'd liven it up a bit. Being Australian, you can get away with these things. So I said, apparently I have to kiss you. Do you want tongue? And Prince William went, I did. And Prince William went, oh, perhaps later. And then Prince Harry came up and I said, do you want tongue? And he's like, oh, yeah, picked me up and swung me around. And we had so much fun. We laughed so much. And they were so relieved not to be treated like porcelain princes, That's why they like coming out to Australia, I think, because we don't stand on ceremony. And then, of course, I saw a little marquee further down the field. And I thought, I wonder what's in there. And I went down and poked my head around. And there was Kate Middleton sitting there by herself. I said, why don't you come up and have a drink with us, have a glass of Pimm's? And she said, no, I have to watch the entire match. There'll be an inquisition later. And I said, well, why don't you play at least? And she said, well, you won't believe it, but I'm allergic to horses. And I'm like, you are so marrying into the wrong family. The royal family kind of count with one foot. When she's at the wedding, she'll have to say, yay or nay, nay. She has got that mane of hair she keeps flicking about. But she was lovely. She was not just pretty, but very witty and very self-deprecating and charming.
So what do you think they'd make of, given that they're the characteristics you've picked up from the couple, what do you think they'd make of all this enormous hype surrounding their wedding and the hopes also being pinned on them from, saving the British economy through to reinvigorating the public perception of the monarchy?
The monarchy, that's right, because after the sad demise of Diana, the public perception of the monarchy was incredibly low. The Republican movement soared. And, we were all hopeful that maybe it would be the end of theirs. I'm a Republican. But they're like, it's as though Kate and Will's have been designed by aerospace. They're a stealth weapon that's flying right under the Republican radar. I mean, in Britain, now only 13% want to get rid of the monarchy. And in Australia, of course, the Republican movement's just stalled in its tracks ever since Wills came out to Queensland, and he seemed so genuine and so empathetic, and he was nicknamed the King of Hearts by the Australian press. So they are a secret weapon, and I'm afraid it's going to be a while before Australia learns to stand on our own two thongs and gets rid of the monarchy.
So you reckon it's not just them flying under the Republican radar, they're actually boosting the stocks of the monarchy in the public eye and public mind?
Definitely. Even the way they're trying to modernise the royal family just a little bit. I mean, it's such a big traditional firm. It's like trying to turn around the Titanic. But things like, the fact she's not going to say love, honour and obey, which Sophie Wessex did. I hate that. When Sophie Wessex said she was going to obey him, I thought, what is she, a dog? Is she going to start sticking her head out the car window and catching a frisbee between her teeth? Only dogs obey. So she has upgraded her wedding vows. It's just all about cherishing and loving and that kind of thing. Not making too many promises. And also the fact, for the first time ever, the royal family is not having +1 on the wedding invitation. That's a real break with monarchy. Although I thought it might be because they were worried that Beatrice was going to arrive. You know, one of the princesses would bring their mother, Fergie, you know, in a Weight Watchers T-shirt or something. Because it's interesting, isn't it? The biggest dilemma on most wedding days are embarrassing relatives. But in this case, not hers, but his. When you think about the royal family, you know, the toe-sucking and the bulimia and the dressing up in Nazi uniforms and, you know, Prince Andy's pedophile pals and Prince Charles wanting to be a tampon, etc., etc. I mean, it is kind of ridiculous to think of them as role models. This is a family that puts the fun into dysfunctional. So, yeah, it is time we got rid of them as our head of state, yeah.
Kathy, you've no doubt heard about the Chasers commentary here in Australia being dropped, and they say because of the restrictions placed upon use of the footage by the royals. What do you make of that?
Yeah. I found that really out of character because the one thing the royal family are known for, especially Prince Charles, is their sense of humour, the love of the Goons, you know, the love of Monty Python, and also the English are renowned for their sense of humour. I mean, that's the best thing they've got going for them. When you go to an English dinner party, it's like being a verbal version of Wimbledon. The banter flies back and forth, and they're so culturally secure that you can make a lot of jokes at their expense and they don't seem to mind. So I was really surprised that they had a humorectomy about the Chaser. I mean, why would they care? I found that really shocking. Yeah, I mean, surely they're bigger than that. So I found that really alarming. But mind you, there are 7 dictators coming to the wedding, so I thought maybe they're picking up some bad habits from the King of Saudi Arabia, etc.
What do you reckon, because you know both countries so well, do you reckon it could reignite the Republican debate in Australia at least? There could be that backlash?
Look, wouldn't it be fantastic if we could have our own president? I mean, we could have Kylie or Dame Edna. I mean, what woman wouldn't want to be on the postage stamp, you know, and get licked all day? It's what I call job satisfaction. So, you know, it is time that we broke away because, you know, living here, I can tell you that the British still see Australians as a recessive gene. We're sort of the Irish of the Pacific. And they'll never really treat us as grown-up, independent people until we make that break with the monarchy. I mean, the upper class do have a condescension chromosome. As soon as they hear the Australian accents, the nostrils go straight up in the air. I mean, I've looked up so many nostrils since I've lived here, even people shorter than me. So, you know, it is time that we showed them that we are independent and we have, you know, we've grown up and we should break away.
So what are you doing for the royal wedding? A street party, a cocktail party perhaps?
Well, I had a little suit made. My girlfriend from the Shire in Sydney made me a little suit with corgis with crowns on it and diamantes. So I'll be down at Buckingham Palace tomorrow, of course. I mean, you have to be part of the whole, you know, pomp and ceremony and pageantry. Who could miss it? And, you know, my frock's so fabulous that I'm hoping to upstage Kate Middleton. That's my plan.
Good luck with that plan. I hope it comes off for you. And thanks so much for talking with us tonight, Kathy Lette.
Lovely to talk to you. Bye.
Bye-bye.